There was a rumble in the jungle once. I heard Dad was outside again counting birds, and Mama plugged in a nightlight, and I saw the queen of the world.
Hello, and welcome to the Golden Hour Birth Podcast. I'm your host, Natalie.
And I'm Liz.
And tonight we have a very special guest on. I'll go ahead and let Liz take it away and share a little bit about her experience with this wonderful human.
Yeah. So, we have a really special guest today. She's a doula here in St. Louis, and she's a student midwife as well. And I met her when I was pregnant with Arthur, looking for a doula. I met so many doulas when I was looking. There was like a website called doulamatch.net. I might have met her on there or from Nat. Doula Match is like a Tinder for doula. But we actually really liked Emma during our consult, and her and my husband vibed really well. We had a really good time, but we didn't end up going with her because of just my circumstances. And, you want to have like really, really good energy with your doula. But yeah, when Natalie told me she was pregnant, it was like, oh my gosh, Emma is definitely for you. I think her and Sam would definitely vibe with her. So yeah.
So I actually met, and I put in quotations here, Emma back in 2017 when I was thinking about becoming a doula. Sam was getting care at First Step Family Wellness and chiropractor. I think that's what she is. Referred me to talk to this girl named Stephanie, who was Liz's second doula for Vivian. And then Stephanie handed me off to Emma, and I asked Emma all these questions. And then I'm like, okay, well, either way, when the time comes for me to have a baby, Emma's going to be definitely someone I interview. So I interviewed Stephanie because Liz was pregnant and hired her. And then I had Emma, and I was just like, yeah, Emma's the one. Ended up hiring her that day. And we had the best experience all around. I can't imagine Wesley's birth without Emma. So we'll go ahead and tell you a little bit about Emma.
Emma is a birth and postpartum doula, mainly in St. Louis and the Metro East in Illinois. And I don't know, I'll just let you take it away from here and give us a little, bio on yourself.
Oh my God, you guys are amazing. I don't know if you know, my face is so red. You guys are so sweet. Oh my God. I love the both of you guys. I still remember the very first time I met Liz and her husband. And it was we were two peas in a pod. It was awesome. And it does not surprise me that you guys went with Stephanie, because Stephanie, we intertwine so much with clients. And I remember when I met Natalie and Sam, it was just yeah, dude, this is it. Yeah, peanut butter and jelly for sure. It's just awesome. We've had some amazing journeys together, and yeah, I'm honestly floored. You guys are so sweet. I mean, I know I have this awful cough, but it's literally taking my breath away. Wow. I mean, the birth world is hard, and you just don't we always think of our clients, and when we hear these things, oh my God. It's, oh my God, it brings everything back. Ooh, it's kind of hard in the feel back. But yeah, so I'm local to St. Louis, and I also do some births up in the Edwardsville, Collinsville, Glen Carbon area, but primarily the St. Louis area. I've been a doula here for, gosh, how old is Sam? 6. So yeah, I'll be 7 years this December. Oh my God, that's a really long time. Oh my God. Wow. I cannot believe it's in LA. I feel really old now. Yeah. It's amazing work. I love so much of what I do. I mean, you guys know how important the emotional connection, exactly what Liz said, you have to vibe with the person who's going to be there to support you. They are with you throughout the most emotional and physically, emotional, and vulnerable time for both you and your partner. And having the right person there to support you, it's just super important. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. I'm probably going to have to mention so many times from my birth, because you were obviously there. I'm not going to be able to stop myself.
I still think very fondly of your birth. The fact that one of your like really good friends also got to be there. Like, it's like, you like can't plan that. Like, I still like, oh my God. Like, there were just so many like super fun, like amazing, like just picture perfect things. Like, and just so many stars like aligned in like the right way.
Yeah. Another friend named Emma.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember at one point like being really tired and confused and being like, wait a minute, what's my name? Okay, wait, which one? But I don't know. I don't know which one I am.
You guys were my two amazing support people. Like, and like obviously Sam too, but he was getting so much from you. Like,
Oh,
he still talks about you too. We couldn't have done it without you.
Sam is so sweet.
So yeah, why don't we just like start with basic stuff? Like for, our listeners who may not have knowledge of like what a doula is and stuff, why don't you just tell us a little bit about like what you do and, why someone would want a doula and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, living in the United States, we, as persons who identify as women, we aren't really given education on our bodies. It's unfortunately left up to, and like, I don't, like as a parent, like I don't mean this to come off as like dissing parents, but we just don't really do enough to educationally support and inform persons who identify as women with female genitalia. And it's a really intimate and vulnerable time in your life when you begin menstruation. And then when you go and decide that you would like to begin a family, however you would like to begin a family. And there's just, for as much physiology is involved, there's a lot of emotion involved. And I think families really are neglected on the emotional support. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's where I feel like every family, no matter where they're at in their journey, really deserves to have just someone for them, like someone who like legitimately like, can you swear on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, oh wait, I probably should like someone who like wholeheartedly like gives a shit about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like once a family does get pregnant, it's just like so much about the baby and the mom, but there's a partner there. Like there's a partner that, they don't get to experience the 9-10 months of physically growing a baby. They don't get to feel, the different emotions, the different hormonal surges. They don't get to feel, the little kicks and hiccups and things like that. Whereas, the gestational parent does. They deserve support too. They have questions. They're going through this as much as the mom and the baby are, but it's so hyper-focused on the mom and the baby while they're growing. And then all of a sudden it's, okay, now you're going into this super vulnerable time where we're expecting you to be super comfortable and okay with multiple people potentially looking at your body, touching your body, people you don't even know. So a partner has to watch that happen to someone who they love, which is incredibly hard. And then a birthing person going through this amazing physical and emotional feat also has to combat that. Like, they just need one person who gives a fuck to say, hey, hold on just 1 second. Like, they're really working through something right now. Can we just like pause for a second? Or, hey, I'm going to go stick you in the bathroom for a minute. Like, why don't you like go potty, like meditate a minute just to get like, not to be rude, but it's like, dude, like this is totally like not the time to come in and like try and do your 800 different things. Like, mom is fine. No one's dying. Everything's okay. Like, just hang on tight. Like that emotional person to just like help you both like understand. I think we just don't really give that like credit. And I think doulas are so important for that. And I mean, you guys both know with like, trying to have a baby, going through pregnancy, like whether it's your first baby or your 12th baby, like every pregnancy is different. You're going to have questions. And, like we were talking about earlier, you can go to the internet, but like you can't really trust that when you first pull something up on Google that it's going to be a reputable webpage you can actually like trust, that it's going to be real evidence-based information. So having a doula to be there to answer your questions, be your sounding board, give you evidence-based information so that you can not only have something like tried and true and, somewhat safe, but also something reputable to go to your care provider, your midwife, your OB, your GO, whatever, and say, hey, I want to open this door of conversation with you, instead of just having your healthcare practitioner just tell you, oh, you're going to do this because I say that.
Yeah.
I think doulas can be incredibly important for that and should be incredibly important for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you brought up a lot of good points in like mine of like informed consent and like speaking up for yourself. And I felt that so deeply and like still trying to remember that in a way because I feel like there's so many times where I'm just like, yeah, you're telling me to do this. Okay, sure thing. I don't know any better.
Yeah. Like, I remember, like growing up as someone who is completely dependent on two different high-level healthcare providers to literally keep me alive my whole life. All I knew was I do exactly what my doctor tells me. Like I don't get to do the fun things that my friends do, go on roller coasters, play contact sports because my doctor tells me that I can't, that I will die if I do that. And, there is like definitely a time and a place for situations like that. But pregnancy and birth that's not it. Like you're caring for one life that quickly in a matter of days becomes two lives. And then you're caring for two lives simultaneously through the most physically intensive, emotionally intensive time in their life. And then you're back to caring for two different separate human beings. That's not a time where you can say, totally blanket statement, hey, okay, like this is what this says we should do. So that's exactly what you're going to do. Like, no, there's two bodies that they need to have the whole, the good, bad. Like how many times did I tell you like, okay, this is the good, the bad, and like this is the really ugly, but like I have to tell you this so that you and Sam can talk about it and thoroughly make your decision and know like these are the potential risks for you. These are the potential risks for your baby. These are the potential benefits for you. These are the potential benefits for your baby. Because if you don't hear it once, then you're not getting the whole picture. So if you give like, I choose option A, but you still don't know about this back here, like that's not fair to you. Like, and you're not truly giving your informed choice. And unfortunately, not every practitioner has the availability or opportunity or freedom to, provide that. And I think that's where doulas can obviously as a doula, like we cannot give any clinical medical advice. Like we are not clinical, we are not medical, healthcare providers, but it is our, duty to give you as much as the pictures we possibly can so that you can either make the right decision for you and your family, like with informed consent for your personal body, for your child's personal body, or to open a door of collaborative and positive conversation instead of how many times do you hear where someone is saying, oh, you need to send your mamas in with their gloves up. Like, we shouldn't enter any environment, like that. Like we should try and help have a more cohesive and like collaborative, positive path, right? Conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you become a doula?
Yeah. So, I have a medical background and, unfortunately it just wasn't the right path and choice for me, as some things that happened in my life. And I've always been really passionate about babies and moms. I just always loved working in the PD satellite. There is something it's like you got like electric feels in your body, like walking down the laboring halls at like 2, 3 in the morning, knowing that like someone in this room, like a baby's going to be born, or like, as much as I like hated getting the C-section page because like, oh man, like, it's usually like, oh, what's happening at this time? It's today, like, it's probably not, the best. And like, now I got to sprint on over and not crash into a wall. It just always like, but there's a baby, like, so like, someone's like becoming a parent today, like a brand new life of like coming in, I just loved it. Like I knew the reason why I got into healthcare was because I wanted to help people. And, when you're young and naive, you think that like what you're doing helps. But then when you take off those rose-colored glasses and you realize you're not actually helping, you're just contributing to, I don't want to say like be so dramatic as to say like hurting people, but you're just not helping. It's really hard to accept that and face that. So, when presented with the opportunity, I never hope that anyone goes through what I did to get to my opportunity, but when presented the opportunity, to change, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I knew off the bat, eventually I was going to become a midwife, but I knew that to be a good midwife, I had to learn true, sincere, raw, I mean, to the bone, like literally cut at your bones empathy.
Mhm.
And that truly comes from doula work. Being a doula is truly showing up for families as raw as you can get, as your true self, to fully support them, because that's 3 lives that you're taking into your heart and your mind for, unfortunately, it's a small chunk of time and it's always painful. Well, like not painful, like that sounds really bad, but it is hard to say to close a chapter with a family. It's never easy, because you do get so like emotionally invested. But I just knew that I needed to take this path. I needed to do this to really deeply understand. I honestly assumed that I would be a doula for a lot longer. I didn't expect, things to unfold the way that they've unfolded. And I'm super excited. I'm super excited to become a midwife. But yeah, I loved being a doula. And it's really important to me that just because the way I physically practice is changing, that I'm still a doula at heart. It's so important. It's just, when you really choose to get into this work, you just learn a whole new side of caring, a whole new emotional side that I don't ever want to let it go.
Oh,
Yeah, does that make sense? I'm terrified. I've heard a lot of doctors say the second something super awful becomes just mundane, that's your time to leave. That's really how I feel about birth. No matter what role I'm in, the second that it doesn't hurt to say goodbye, or that I don't feel super attached to my families, that's when I know okay, something has to change, because you gotta care. You gotta care, because unfortunately, we live in the United States. A lot of people don't get cared for in the way that they deserve to get cared for. And that's why we see a lot of really unfortunate things happen. That's why I like what I do and why I do what I do.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Not because we live in the United States and we see a lot of people hurt, but
Yeah.
because you're taking a stance and doing something about it. How has being a mom affected being a doula? Is it harder with the on-call schedule? I know you've had to pivot a lot from.
Yeah. It is so hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for anyone. I think we all can agree the suckiest thing about being a mom is you get mom guilt. The second you get pregnant, you get mom guilt, and it never gets easier,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, because no mom wants to be away from their kid, but, I just think of it as I love my son so much. And I'll be honest, I was a super shitty teenager. Okay. I was super shitty to my parents. I've got a lot of fucking karma to make up. I hope that one day my son can see man, my mom cared so much to help these people, during I hope that I know now he's stop talking about vaginas, mom, or okay, whatever, cool, your vulva, cool. I just hope when he understands the delicacy and the intimacy, I hope that he can see wow, my mom was so passionate about how she really cared. I want to care for what's something like that someday. So that really helps me to keep going when I'm I miss Sam, or he's I miss you, mom, I never see you. It really fucking sucks, man. I always told myself I remember as a kid begging my mom not to go to work because I missed her, And I always said if I ever became a parent, I didn't want my kid to say that. But I mean, shit, our kids are going to say it if we go to Target. Let's be honest. Okay. I got to cut the guilt a little bit and say
yeah,
I might just want to go to Target or Starbucks alone. And they're going to say, okay, but it is hard, but it also makes you think like for every second that I'm with this family, it is so precious because I could also be with my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I want these people to know that like, I'm sure like, I can't imagine anyone is like, oh, it's no big deal for them to be away from their kid. Like, I know they know it like sucks, you know, but I hope they can feel the love that like, I love my kid enough to spend this time with you. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's also, I know I am really not a patient person. Okay. But being a doula has taught me like a whole different level of patience that it's helped me be a better mom to Sam. It's helped me, you know, learn how to just be more trusting of the body. It's helped me learn how to advocate for him. It's helped me learn how to advocate for myself. It's helped me learn like being a doula has changed being a mom and me as a person in so many different ways. I could go blue in the face listing it off. Like, is it really hard? Is balancing childcare, finding childcare? I mean, my God, like finding childcare in general.
Yeah.
No, bitch that no one prepares you for. No one tells you how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
But then you have an on-call life and it's a shit show. And like, you know, the fucking worst part is that you would think that all of us would come together and like try and do something to collectively support each other. But like that shit doesn't work. So like, you know, there's some like nasty sides of it that really fucking suck. Like, but you know, we somehow all get through. Our kids are still alive. Like, yeah.
Yeah. If Sam decides to start a family one day, or he's just going to be like the sweetest, kindest soul to any pregnant person out there because of you.
I hope so. I just hope that he's like really empathetic about menstruation. Like, or like when he does, like if he chooses to have a female partner, I hope to God that like he is so respectful of their body and like understands like, yeah, I'm a horny teenage boy. Of course I want to port you, but like, this is like totally not a good time. Like, but I want him like, do you remember like being young and a teenager and like being embarrassed of your period? Like, I want him to be that supportive friend that's like, it's okay. I got you. Like, also, he calls like my menstruation products fresh ones. He loves getting me a fresh one. I hope that he's that friend. It's like, oh my God, I'll go get you a fresh one. Like, it's no big deal. Like, I don't know. Like, I want him to feel confident and like, or, you know, like if he does decide to have a female partner, I hope that he feels confident, like exploring their body in the sense like, yeah, you have a vulva, you have a vagina, you have a clitoris. Like, where is your clitoris? Like, how can I help you? Like, feel like, I just want him to feel comfortable. I want him to feel confident, but supported and like empathetic of that person.
Yeah.
Like
confident talking about even menstruation or like cramps. Like, don't like squirm about it. Don't be annoying about it.
Yeah.
You know what's going on, but you just refuse to like let yourself really know.
Like, I don't want to be that like weirdo mom that just like walks around with her clam out, free bleeding everywhere. But like, I don't want my child to be afraid of menstruation.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and so like, I know it's really bad. Like, and I shouldn't be like, oh, stop saying negative thing, you know, but like, I want him to be like, oh yeah, it's okay. Like, mom's not sick when she had like, he used to call it red feet, you know, like, I don't want him to think like mom's sick, you know, like I want him to know that it's normal and it's fine. And like, yeah, you know, like, so mom needs a fresh one. Cool. Help me out, buddy. Like, you know, like it's okay to sometimes have like, sometimes blood coming out of your body is a good thing. It means that mom's healthy. It means, you know, that my body is healthy and doing the right things. Like I don't want him to be like spelunking in toilets for, you know, menstrual blood or mucus, but like, I don't want him to be afraid of it. I don't want him to be embarrassed or to perpetuate, you know, that whole toxic mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arthur calls my tampons my diapers. Oh, mommy, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm putting, a tampon in. Oh, that's your diaper. Sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your doula training like?
So I trained locally here in St. Louis. I was super lucky. There used to be an actual place in Tower Grove called Parenting Resources, and it was ran by a mom and a daughter. And I chose to train with them. Kathy was the mom. She retired, was a NICU nurse practitioner and an IBCLC for 26, almost 30 years. And so I thought, if I'm going to practice here, if this is where I want to work, I really want to train with people who are local, who know our area, who know our community, who know our needs, who know, really have a good sense of what is needed here. That was really important to me. When I was looking for trainings, everything just felt so sterile. I don't know if that's the right word, but just like very basic. And like, even though like their training like did hit a lot of the same like milestones, just like having like local people from the community do a lot of our teaching, that's what really stood out to me. And then obviously like Kathy's like clinical experience, I thought was really important, especially with lactation. Yeah, like that's why I chose them and I love them dearly. I wish they were still running Parenting Resources, but they were a huge, huge, huge influence in me becoming a doula, how I practice. And yeah.
That's so awesome. I remember, go ahead. I remember just seeing their like Facebook group and like Google. And I wanted to like go by or like have a baby so bad at that time. And then by the time it was like time for me to have a baby, they closed.
I know. It was so abrupt and so soon. Like I was heartbroken. I mean, shoot, our Sam was like essentially raised there. Like, I mean, literally from the time he fell out until they closed. Like, I mean, that was kind of his first school. Like, when they started having like all those like music classes and movement classes and art classes and stuff, like Sam did every one of them and did their camp. And yeah.
When you did your training at Parenting Resources, was it like kind of by the book, like doing a lot of educational things? Or did you have to like get hours with families and like being at births? How did that look?
So I did have to have, oh gosh, I can't remember now. I had to look at my certificate to actually see the numbers, but I did have to do a certain amount of postpartum hours to be certified for postpartum. And I did postpartum first. I finished postpartum about a year before I became a birth doula. Well, I had my birth doula certificate, but I didn't actually start like practicing for a year. And then I did all of my certifying births. I had about 6 months of actual coursework. And then I think it took me another like year to be fully certified with both of them just to get, and I was terrible at like getting papers signed and like having people, oh God, I was awful about it. Like I would have to like call people and be like, I should have had you like sign this piece of paper for me like months ago. Like, do you mind? Like, oh yeah, I was terrible. Yeah. So I probably could have done it faster, but I mean, the like academic work of it though, like, I don't know, I think I did it as quick as I could.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. It took about 6 months that I'm remembering.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. What do your packages for doula work look like?
Yeah. So it's definitely changed over the years. Right now, I'm really scaling back my doula work just because I'm only taking one client a month because I'm trying to get in, my midwifery birth. I gotta be honest. I mean, you guys know I've always hated the package question, but for me, it's more about like finding a family what they want. I almost said soft serve, but I meant like fast serve. Like we live in such a like fast food style, like get it now, instant gratification society that I feel like when a family says, I want this, then they go to the website and then they instantly look at what's the menu, and I've constantly over the years have changed my packages because new research, new studies, new things I wanted to incorporate, new passions, and like, you guys know me, like I love giving gifts, like just new things. I'm like, I want to be able to do this. So like, it's always changing. At least like once a year, I've always changed them because I just don't feel that this is like not consistent. I feel like we should just this is a realm where we should constantly be like fluid. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people that all the time. Like, hey, just because my website says I have like these 2 different packages and like one offers a whole bunch like this, I offered this bigger package because it's honestly for people who have usually never had a baby before, or they've never gone through a physiological birth before. So I want to spend a lot of time really emotionally investing and getting to know this family. And like, while it may seem super annoying sometimes and like, oh my God, like how long are you going to drone on? Like, I want you to have all of this information and all of this education because you got to at least hear something once. Because if something is to happen to you in your most vulnerable time, and then you hear something and you haven't heard it before, that could become trauma. And like, it's our goal to help you not have a traumatic experience. Like, obviously, like we can't control everything, but, so I tell people like that package is bigger because we have to spend time together. Like I never want to force myself on you, but I want you to really spend the time getting all this extra education, so not only can we like trust each other, but like so that you really know what you're getting into. Because how many times have you heard people, essentially say like, I just want to roll up and have this like beautiful unmedicated natural birth, but they have like nothing behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to have something behind it to get there. Like you got to understand the physiology of your own body, of like what's physically happening to you, and then how your baby plays a role in that. Mm-hmm. And then my other package, I tell people, hey, like if you've already gone through this before, like this is probably like going to be the best option for you. Like straight up, it costs me this amount to just physically be away from my kid. And like, I have to assume that I'm not going to have someone to watch him for roughly 24 hours a time. So to hire a babysitter, like this is exactly how much it costs me to pay that babysitter. I just break it down for him. Like I want to get to know you. Like, even though it says there's only a couple prenatal visits, honest to God, like I'm going to ask you to meet with me more, and I'm never going to charge you for it because I just want to get to know you, and that's something I found over the past couple years is I cannot believe just the surface level that I was hitting with families before showing up to them. And so now I tell people like, hi, I'm going to be really freaking annoying and like want to talk to you and want to get to know you, because every conversation that we have, it's going to uncover something that something's going to go up and I'm going to say, hey, you just said this. Cool. Let's dive a little deeper into that, because you're not going to get that at the majority of your care providers, So yeah, so like packages are ever changing. Me, like I will meet any family wherever they're at. I hope my husband's not listening because he'll probably like focus out around and give me the devil stare. But I tell families all the time, like, it's not about the money for me. When I show up as your doula, it's not about the money for me. Like, just tell me what you need. Like, if you can be open and honest and vulnerable to have that conversation with me, like, you betcha I'm going to bend over backwards for you. Like, it's just, that's more important to me. But unfortunately, like, I hate that mindset is going to have to shift for me, as a midwife, because like, so like that's something that is very hard to deal with, that like I'm trying to deal with. It's just like, tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish like doulas and even midwives were just more like accessible. I just don't know why insurance doesn't cover it. It's care,
Yeah.
And like when I was looking for a midwife for my second birth, my insurance wasn't going to pay for it, but there was also a high chance that I was going to be transferred to the hospital. And so I'd have that bill also. And I was just like weighing all the options. And that just sucks that we have to do that here. But
yeah, it just sucks that like, it's just so not fair that families like that we can't feel confident charging enough to make like a legitimate living, because we know that that is a major expense for families to take on, and they're probably not going to see it back. Like, I think that is one of the nastiest part of our jobs. It's like I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with other doulas along the lines of like, I want to be able to do this full time. Like this has to be able to be livable, but it's so gross to see that number, you know, because like the majority of the people who, you know, really need doulas, like that's a major financial hit, you know, and like think of if you want a doula and then you also, you know, want to have a home birth. The thing that kills me the most and like makes me want to throw up exorcist style are families that literally have to make the decision between having the birth that they desire and that they are meant to have and that level of care, and then they can't afford their doula. Like, how fucking fucked is that?
Yeah.
Like, ugh. And like, it just boils me. Like, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wish there was more support because the work you guys are doing is so valuable. And I've been privileged enough to have a doula for both my births.
Yeah.
I just wish everyone could have that too.
Yeah. And I wish like our society valued it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, how many times do you hear people refer to doulas as like, you know, witches dancing in the woods or, you know, like, oh, doulas are dangerous. Or I mean, like even like on the TikTok app and Instagram and Facebook, like you see all these people like professionals bad mouthing doulas and midwives, you know, because they don't value what we do. Like, I wish people like legitimately saw us like, we actually can make a difference. Like we can make your experience with your patients so much better. Like,
Yeah.
they have better physical outcomes and you can have a better emotional outcome. Like this can be such a more positive, better experience. We're not the weird hippies that you think we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fully like credit Stephanie's guidance during my second pregnancy for not having like another traumatic birth, you know, because she showed me so many options with providers. And then I was able to choose the provider that really worked with me. And I didn't have to, I don't know,
fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Or feel shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, like that's so
or being forced into the birth that I didn't want to, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish like God, I cannot tell you, like, I wish it were so much easier for us to like walk into providers' doors and say, hi, like, I have someone who's seen you, or I've heard wonderful things about you. Like, let's have a conversation so we can make this a better experience for everyone. Like, oh man, I can't tell you like how many times like doctors are like, oh, you have a doula? Like, I had one doctor once. I've only ever had one doctor do this to me, but they literally were like, oh, this is like, now I'm here. This is my room and I control who's in there. I don't know you and I don't like doulas, so you can go wait in the hall. And I was like so flabbergasted. Like, what?
Wow.
Like,
well, lucky for you, I don't work for you.
I was like, oh,
oh my God.
That's why I love the connection I think a lot of doulas in the St. Louis area have with the Mercy Birthing Center, because you guys are like so like collective off each other. I remember so many times even mentioning that I had you as my doula in my appointments, and they're like, oh, ask Emma anything. Like she's got it all. She knows exactly what she's talking about. Like she's a great resource, which you have been this whole time for me.
Thank you.
Like I remember when I was told that like don't rule out C-section, and we had like an hour conversation. You're like, no. Like
I will never forget that. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Like the rage fires are within me.
Which is funny, who like the person who said that ended up being my favorite midwife. And it's kind of just funny that happened. But even like, you know, I love Sam so much. He's my husband. He's my partner. But like, he didn't know what we were going into.
Yeah.
All we talked about for like those last like 3 months was how he's going to pass out. And I'm like, no, you're fucking not. Sam, I love you if you listen to this, but I'm like, you are not allowed to pass out. Like, we are going to get through this. I'm going to prepare you with like the business of being born. We're going to watch birth videos, and just like having you there, like you take a more active memory more so than he does.
Oh no.
No. I don't think it's a bad thing. And I think he would kind of say the same, because like I had that back labor and you were like on top of my bag, like making sure that I had some sort of relief. Like,
let me just throw my whole body weight onto your back.
you did. You did like multiple times. And I think just him seeing you doing that, like he wouldn't have known what to do. And that's okay though. That's why we hired you. That's why we had you. And you were worth every penny to us. And yeah.
Thank you. Oh, it makes me sad for Sam, because like so many times you hear it everywhere. Like partners are like, oh, well, if my partner gets a doula, like what am I going to do? Like I don't ever want a partner to feel like that. Like this is the most important time for them as well. Like the labor and delivery is essentially their pregnancy, and then they welcome a new child, and then they see, their loved one in this like whole new light. Like it's a whole big thing for them too. Like,
yeah,
like I don't ever want to like take their place, because they're so important. Like I want to be like teammates. Like, come on, dude. Like, I'll do that. Like, I gotta go pee. Just do this. Like we're like, you need a break, go for it. Like,
yeah. You're there to support them too. I remember Jen, our first doula, just telling Jason, like, okay, you need to like drink something and go to the bathroom. Like, yeah. He just didn't want to leave me.
Yeah.
But
it's so hard. Like, and like poor partners, like they don't know until you get there. Like, and it is hard to see the person you love so fucking much go through this visceral, raw, physical and emotional. So you don't want to leave them. And like, I hope to God, like every partner like feels comfortable, like, okay, I can go pee, because like if the shit hits the fan, like I'm in there. She's got her fanny pack. She's ready. Like,
and not saying that like Sam doesn't have like a very active role in Wesley's birth, but like I think for even both of us, he might even be able to agree that you were a very active person, because you guys would like have like these side conversations together. I had no idea that they were going on. Like I didn't learn until after the fact. So it's not a bad thing. I think that I'm saying that, but
well, I think like that is an important part of the journey too. Like, we have to protect you and your headspace, So, but like partners are hearing like doctors and nurses say this thing, these things and these conversations, and they're like, what the fuck do I do? Like, like, so we have to have these powers. Like, hey, dude, like, let's break this down. Like, let's understand, let's unpack. Remember your family's birthing preferences. Remember your desires. Remember, what you want, how you want to feel, how you want to be treated. They're saying this, it's like, okay, let's talk about it. Now we've had our powwow and like kind of digested it. Now let's go present it to Natalie. Like now let's talk like in a less high stress environment,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That definitely came through. It didn't ever really seem stressful for me.
Poor Sam got like, I was like, okay, dude, listen to me. Like, look me in the eyes. Got to have this conversation. Like, do or die, buddy. Let's do this.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Golden Hour Birth Podcast. This again is part 1 of a 2-parter. Our interview with Emma was just so great that we split it up into 2 parts. So tune in next week for part 2. If you are interested in finding Emma online, you can follow her on Instagram at Integrated Birth Nerd. And then she also has a website, which is emmaginderdoula.com. And we'll link both of those in our show notes. And if you want to follow me and Natalie, I'm Liz_golden_hour on Instagram. Natalie is Nat_golden hour on Instagram, and we'll link those also in the show notes. If you liked this episode and our podcast, please give us a review and a rating on Spotify or Apple so that we can continue doing this and hopefully getting more ears. We'll see you next week. Thanks.